Honestly, it's absolutely baffling to me that the bigwigs at Triumph HQ sat down in a boardroom and said, do you know what the Rocket 3R needs? More power. Absolutely baffling, but I'm not complaining. A more powerful Triumph Rocket 3R was not on my bingo card for 2024, but here we are. We have the Rocket 3R Storm, as it says here. Now with the Storm, we have that same inline triple engine that produces 2,458 cc, but Triumph have somehow managed to up the power and up the torque in a world of crippling emissions regulations. So now with this, we've gone from 165 brake horsepower, which was amazing enough, up to 180 brake horsepower, where the peak comes in at 7,000 RPM. We've also gone up in torque. We were at 221 newton meters of torque, which again, a phenomenal torque figure. Now we've gone up even more to 225 newton meters of torque, where its peak is introduced at 4,000 RPM. Absolutely wild, and this bike is a powerhouse. It is a powerhouse. This engine also rocks the same 10,000 mile service intervals as well, so you can go for a long time without needing to change it. Although that's a bit of a lie, because it's either annual or 10,000. So let's be real, if you're not putting 10,000 miles on it in the year, you're going to get it done annually. So it's going to be an annual thing, but it certainly probably won't be sooner for a lot of you. Now with a big engine, big power, big torque figures comes big price. So this bike, before you start accessorizing it, and there's 50 genuine accessories from Triumph for this bike, it's going to set you back £23,195. The bike is available in 3 different colours, and this is probably my second favourite one. This is Carnival Red and Sapphire Black. You also have 2 other colour options, which I'll pop on the screen now. Sapphire Black and Granite, which is probably my favourite colour. I love how stealthy and blacked out it is. And then finally the Satin Pacific Blue and Matte Sapphire. Before we get on this bike and ride this thing, I'm going to just talk to you guys about the hardware, starting with the suspension. If we look at the front forks, we have some Showa 47mm front forks, which are adjustable for compression and rebound damping. And then if we take a look at the rear shock, this is also Showa, and it is a fully adjustable shock with a preload adjuster that you can see right there. I'll put a close-up of that in there so you can see. Moving on to the brakes, we've got some right chunkers, and they need to be chunky because they've got a lot of weight to stop. This bike, wet, 317 kilograms. Now I'm just going to insert, before we talk about the brakes, a little bit of footage of me pushing it out of my garage, and let me tell you, this is lardy. It's a lump to move around. Honestly, I had a sweat on when I just pushed it out of my garage. But the beauty of it is, when you're on it and you're riding, you don't feel that at all. And if you're on it and you're paddling, again, you don't feel it. So that's good. Anyway, I digress. Back to the brakes. If we look at the hardware, we have twin 320mm discs. They're Brembo, of course. And attached to the discs, we have 2 Brembo M4.32 Stylema 4-piston monoblock calipers. And then on the rear, we have a single 300mm disc, along with a Brembo M4.32 4-pot monoblock caliper. So again, Triumph are not messing around when it comes to the stopping power of this brute. Some features to mention, we have a TFT dash, which is really pretty actually and looks very in keeping with the whole design aesthetic of the bike. Of course, we have a 6-axis IMU, so we have all the lean angle sensitive, ABS, traction control. We've got switchable throttle maps, so if I just scroll through them now, we have a rain, we have a road, a sport and a rider mode as well. That's where you can really fine tune the deliverables of what the bike can give you in terms of power and traction control and all that jazz. So a few little stats just before we jump on it and ride it. The seat height of this bike is 773mm. It's super low, it's super accessible, and I really like that Triumph have made it so low. I'm going to show you what it's like for me to sit on this bike as a 5'4" individual. That is 162 centimeters for those who prefer that metric. My inside leg measurement is 29 inches or 73.66 centimeters. And this is what it's like for me with a seat height of 773mm. Now, to be honest, I am on a bit of a slope going down this way. But again, if I'm just stopping, I've got a flat foot down on this side. If I want to put both feet down, you know, I've got enough contact with the floor that I can kind of push myself forward a little bit, even though I wouldn't do that if I needed to move forward. I just switch it on and paddle with it. But yeah, this is what it's like for me. Perfectly manageable from a seat height perspective. With regards to the fuel tank, we have a tank capacity of 18 litres, which I think is pretty good. And to be fair, you'll probably burn through it quite quickly if you don't have that right hand discipline, because this torque is freaking addictive. Oh, sounds nasty. Right guys, we're on the ride bit of this vlog, so hopefully we're just going into a Nacional, baby. Let's try and hit these twisties in half a mile, turn left onto Solly. Now this is the road that I've been hunting for, because it shows on the map that it's got lots of twists and turns, and that's where we want to take the big girl. The roads around here, oh, gorgeous. But we do go into a nice 30, so we've got to behave ourselves. So yeah, while we're sticking to 30 miles an hour, the Rocket 3's town mannerisms are wonderful. I've got it in street mode at the moment because I know we've got some twisties coming up, and any smoothness that I can gain from a mode is helpful. Spread Eagle Inn. When my mate told me to go past the Spread Eagle Inn, I thought he was having a laugh, but no, it is actually called the Spread Eagle Inn. First gator it around here. Ooh. Come on dude, look how tall this HGV is. You are not telling me you did not see him approaching. Engage brain. Use brain power. Oh, that brah, brah, that bark, that surge of torque that just courses through this bad boy. It just wants to go. But the HGV is taking up all those lanes. He's the king of the road. In this ride review, I can't tell you, you know, how many miles you're going to get to the tank, because to be honest, I've had this bike in my garage for a while and my July has been that hectic that I just haven't been able to get out on it. And honestly, that really makes me sad, because it's one of my favourite bikes to ride. And Mike's ridden the older one, and he said, you know, if we could justify it and afford it, we'd have one. Not that we can. So that's why whenever I get the opportunity to ride it, it's always so good. Oh. Roads are great. The brakes are great. He's stopping a lot of weight. Suspension feels great. I understand why it has the name Rocket, because it's honestly what it feels like to ride it. Like, I don't know why I'm even in second gear here, because second gear seems a bit like danger gear if you ask me, with how violent this bike is on the throttle. And to think that these bikes are restricted at the throttle from factory to only 60%, or at least that was certainly the case with the one before this, the 165 brake horsepower Rocket, the non-storm. So I can imagine it's going to be the same for this one. I think it would just be absolutely insane to unlock 100% of that throttle. I know that's a service my friends at BHP offer, because they've done a few of them. Oh, when you shut off that put 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 from the exhaust. Oh, on the engine brake. Oh, so good. Honestly, it's so cushy. So cushy. The seat is beautifully comfortable. It's cupping my little behind perfect. It's cupping it gorgeous. Oh, it sounds mint. The exhaust, the roar. It feels like it shouldn't ride like it does because of how crazy everything is, how unagile it is on paper. Long wheelbase, big chunky tyres. You know, it's not giving Olympian gold medal athlete, is it? But I know, I suppose it's giving more deadlift Olympian champion more than anything, because it's muscly. I don't watch the Olympics, if you can tell. I don't know what the categories are. Oh. No, that exhaust note is goading. Goads you. On the brakes quite hard because you don't know what's around here. Back on. This is in 5th gear. I'll calm down a little bit here since the road gets narrow and I can't see through bends. And I'm glad I did take it a bit easy then, because on country lanes you never know whether there's just going to be a tractor around the corner. Yes. In the words of my mate Hippodrome, yes. Honestly, they seem like they should be not practical bikes, but they're so much fun. They're so much fun to ride because they're just powerhouses. There's nothing like this. I mean, maybe there is in the sense of the Diablo, but I can't comment personally because I haven't rode it yet. Oh, sexy. Whew. I mean, we can only work within the realms of the law on the channel, so we can't really open her up. But what we can do and what we can see, oh gosh, it's just like a launch pad. Not today, not on this. Woo! What a bike! What a bike! I can't stop just in it. Oh. Dirt on the roads, and it's telling us to turn right in half a mile. Gravel. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, 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 no! It's to be expected on these kind of roads. Can't be too much of a hero, even though it makes you feel like you're a hero. take the next right. Gravel, great. I'll stop here because visibility is poor. And we've got a nice little Porsche or whatever it is. Oh, yes, that's nice. Let's go. Take the next left. Oh, what a pretty little area. Into Jack's Lane. Oh, 40 miles an hour. Got to be a good gal on this road. No. Bah, bah. Just chill, just vibe, just flow. Not for long. Missionary baby. Third gear. Oh! The roll on! It's preposterous! It does it with such venom! With such hatred in its heart! Honestly, it's unreal. Oh, it's so bumpy. It's honestly a flight risk with these roads, but I'm trying to keep both wheels on the ground up because I don't actually want to launch a rocket. I'll leave that to Elon. But honestly, it's handling, sweep it around. Oh, it loves it. It loves it. Bearing in mind this is in street mode, or road mode, and not in wild mode. But I have to say, the suspension is actually quite cushy on this, and I'm kind of glad that it's not mega firm. I mean, it's fully adjustable, so if you wanted to make it mega firm, I'm absolutely sure you could stiffen it up a little bit. But because it's a lot of bike to handle, sometimes it's nice that it's just wallowing over the bumps and kind of absorbing it and not jarring and bouncing me over them, because it's a lot of bike to get wrong, if you know what I mean, and it's not one that I'd fancy getting wrong. 30 mile an hour now, get it right down, there we go. Well, as you can see, it likes to be thrown around. She's a big girl, but she knows how to have fun. But no, I love this part of the world for taking fast, obnoxious bikes too. See, we got another Nacional. I'm sorry, I can't stop just lunging on the throttle. I can't stop it. Wow, it gets up to national speed so quick. It's unreal. Committing to these bends is quite scary because you never know when there's going to be gravel on these roads. Well, my spider senses do work quite well a lot of the time. Oh, you have to behave a little bit, Kate. You're getting too carried away. It's too easy. Oh, twisties for half a mile. Say less. Say less. Third gear, swoop it round. The tarmac's looking nice. Swoop it round again. Oh. Cyclist, give him some space. Get back over. Oh, preposterous, preposterous, preposterous. What a freaking bike, what a freaking bike. This has hill hold as well, I did not realise. So we've got 6-axis IMU and all that jazz, but yeah, hill holders quite a surprise when I wasn't able to move on a hill before, and I'm like, why? And then I realised why. But yeah, it's a pretty mean machine. It revs to 7. Oh, I'm on the weed, yeah, I'm on the weed. Let's go. Oh. How is it behaving like this? It's so leery. I love it. Preposterous. Preposterous. Take a shot every time Kate says preposterous. Wow, wow, wow. What a bike. I just love it. I love it so much. I really, really want one. I want one so bad. It's unfair that I can't afford one. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed the ride part of the Rocket 3. Yeah, it's not going to tip into bends as easily as something with a much, you know, thinner tyre profile, of course. That's just science, angles, life. But if you treat the bike with respect, you can have some good fun on it. You've just got to understand, you know, its handling limitations, but you can still have a right good hoon and a right good spanking, and it can get over, just not to the degree of, you know, the other lithe kind of bikes on the market. But then they can't make you feel like this bike makes you feel. Well, I'm going to take you all back to the Kate that stood outside MC Hub in Darwin. See you there. Okay, now that we're back from the ride, I thought I'd bring you guys back here and just run through some of my personal pros and cons on Triumph's Rocket 3R Storm. Now, firstly, the biggest pro for me is the riding experience. The sheer, pure and raw, unadulterated power and torque that this bike has is borderline unholy. I'm lucky enough to ride a lot of bikes on this channel. I ride the small stuff, I ride the big stuff, and honestly, how this delivers its power is so smooth, it's so linear, it's so imminent. And one thing I love about this, when I'm on the motorway, this bike revs to 7,000 RPM with 8 at the red line. You can be doing, not saying I have, 90 miles an hour and you're in top gear 6th, and it's just sat at a smidge over 3,000 RPM. And the scary thing is you could wind it back from there and it's going to still propel you in 6th gear at that speed already. It's wild and it's just addictive. Now, a con to that pro is you've got to watch your license on this thing, because it does it with such ease that you don't realise you're doing it, and that can be a little bit of a problem. So you've got to be quite astute, you've got to be on your game when you ride this, because it does it so effortlessly that sometimes you can look down and you're like, okay. So yeah, the power combined with its general riding experience and the road presence that you get, that's another pro. You're on this bike and you're riding and heads are turning, people are looking at you. I mean, probably because the LEDs at the front look sexy as heck, those two twin lights, like, you know it's a Rocket 3 coming down the road when you see those, especially followed by the low squat chassis of this bike. Honestly, I just think the road presence is outstanding and makes you feel special. Makes you feel really cool and really badass when you get to ride this bike. Another thing I like, and this might be the GS owner in me speaking, but I love the fact that it's shaft driven, so you don't have to worry about any chain maintenance. You just jump on it and go, 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 and I absolutely love that. And aesthetically, again, visually, it looks pretty, it looks really nice, and I think Triumph have got it pretty spot on with how it looks. Another plus point that I have of this bike is the seat. It is hella comfy. It cups your butt like it was just crafted by the hands of God, little cherub hands just cupping your little butt cheeks just so perfectly, and it's so comfy. You sit right in it. It feels luxurious. It doesn't feel hard or bumpy or, you know, just not designed for you. I mean, maybe it might be different for bigger bums out there, because, you know, I wasn't really gifted in the bunda department, but for me, for my little tush, sat on that, comfy as heck. Another thing that I find is a real big pro, it's just the build quality and the design elements. Like if we look at the pillion pegs, they're just so neatly folded away. You wouldn't even know they're there. And then when you don't have a pillion, you can fold them back up, and the bike looks classy, it looks elegant. The engine, look at it, the way the exhausts all are just so unified and just come out into that, you know, 3 into 3. It looks like there's only 2, but there is another end can that peeks out on the other side. It's just so pretty. The tank, when we look at this centre strip of like brushed aluminium almost, it just looks elegant, it looks expensive. The dash cluster, again, it looks nice, it all fits in. The bar and mirrors are standard, I really like that. They've not just put normal mirrors on and you've got to spec it like this. Like the bar and mirrors just come on it as standard, and it's nice. Again, the seat, the stitching, even everything, like the backlight, it looks classy, it looks elegant. The twin lights at the front, sexy. Honestly, how this bike looks, I love it. And if I'd have got this in all black, Leonardo DiCaprio face. Stunning. Okay, so a few cons, in my opinion, with this bike. Firstly, I don't really get on so much with Triumph's keyless dash system. I find it takes a while to do its thing. I don't find the dash all that intuitive, and I find it a bit annoying. I'm not a fan of this toggle here in the switchgear. I like the fact that it's got cruise control though. I did use it on the motorway and it was good. Another con of this bike, and it comes with the territory, it's literally just how it's designed, is that big 240 rear. When you do have to go around quite small mini roundabouts, say you want to double back on yourself, she's long. The rake isn't bad, but obviously it's just a long barge of a bike. Subconscious there. And yeah, it's with that big rear, you do feel it in the handling. It's to be expected because it's just what it has, but for a bike with a big 240 rear and a big 150 at the front, I mean, that front wheel and front tyre is bigger than a lot of bikes' rear tyres, and that's at the front. But when you get on the big sweepers and the big flowers, like, it's amazing. And to be honest, it does handle exceptionally well for what it is, but as a con, if you're expecting to, you know, have the agility and the nimbleness of something with a much smaller wheelbase and a much thinner tyre, you're not going to get it with this, obviously. Another con, I must say, is the weight. It is really, really heavy just from a physical manoeuvring perspective. 317 kilograms is no joke, and I think if you're going to purchase one of these, you do have to consider where it's going to stay and if it's going to make your life hell during your ownership, or if you live somewhere where access is really easy, then it won't be a problem, because once you're on it and you're paddling around, it's absolutely fine, no gripes there. Another thing which I do think sucks a little bit is the fact that for the price of this bike, it doesn't come with a quick shifter or auto blipper. That's an optional extra, and the price of that on Triumph's website, I believe, is £525. Now, I don't even know if that's excluding labour, and that's a lot of money for a quick shifter and a blipper that a lot of manufacturers are just including nowadays as a standard feature. With this bike, it's, I suppose, not so bad, because when you're on the motorway, you can just shut off the throttle for you know, a brief second while you change up, and it's problem free. But obviously I wouldn't like to do that going down the box, so you've got to engage clutch and do it manually that way. And I'm just all about that easy life. I've been spoiled riding that many bikes that do have a quick shifter and auto blipper, that for a bike that costs £23,195, I would kind of just expect it to be on there as standard. So the fact that it's not included is a little disappointing. But then again, Triumph have a bajillion accessories, so there is something for everyone. And then I guess my final con, which kind of leads on from what I've just said, is the price. You know, £23,000 starting point is not going to be budget friendly for a lot of people, very much including myself. And I almost feel like I torture myself by riding these kind of bikes because I want to own them, but they're not in my physical grasp to be able to own them, which sucks. So yeah, I'd probably say price is a little bit of a con. Well, I'm going to conclude my vlog there. I've got to say, I'm really disappointed that I have to return this bike because, no lie, this is one of my dream bikes. And I say that sincerely because for me, if I could have like a dream bike garage with 3 bikes in there that I would just have forever, honestly, I would say a GS of some variety would be in there. 1200, 1250, 1300, not fussy, I would take any one of those. Then the second one would be a KTM a Super Duke 1290R, and then the third bike would be, I'd even take a Rocket 3R non-storm. I'd take its predecessor with the 165 brake horsepower. I'm not picky, but the Storm in all black, that would make the dream bike garage in my opinion. Right everybody, let me know what you think about Triumph's Rocket 3R Storm in the comments below. Is it to your taste? Have you ever ridden one? Would you like to ride one? Let me know, because I know they do divide a lot of opinions. If you like what you've seen, hit that subscribe button, and until the next time guys, take care, ride safe and look after each other. Bye!